So Donald Trump closes the border to protect us from dangerous criminals, and on the same day pardons 1,500 criminals, including some famously violent ones, releasing them from prison and back onto the streets. Trump is trying to scare us by enacting all these insane executive orders on day one. He purposely bamboozles us with his extremism to put the fear of God into us, to scare us into submission, where he makes the law because he is the law. But remember, it's just a confidence trick, designed to have us fear him. But we need not live in fear. Supporters of Trump who were convicted for their roles in the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack began leaving prison today after the newly sworn-in president issued broad pardons yesterday. The Republican leader's decision to pardon 1,500 individuals, including some of the most notorious figures involved in the insurrection, has sparked outrage, particularly among lawmakers who were targeted during the assault. Among those released were Enrique Tarrio, leader of the Proud Boys, and Stuart Rhodes, founder of the Oath Keepers militia. Tarrio had been serving a 22-year sentence. Rhodes, previously sentenced to 18 years for seditious conspiracy, were released after their sentences were commuted. Neither man physically entered the Capitol during the attack, but were convicted of orchestrating plans to disrupt the certification of Joe Biden's 2020 electoral victory, which Donald Trump still claims was rigged against him. Rhodes, who was accused of stockpiling weapons near Washington, D.C., was released from prison in Cumberland, Maryland, shortly after midnight on Tuesday. Tarrio's attorney confirmed his release the same day. Outside the D.C. Central Detention Facility, a group of approximately 50 supporters braved freezing temperatures on Monday night, waiting to celebrate the anticipated releases. Chants of justice were punctuated by upbeat music and dancing as attendees expressed their belief that the pardons were a long overdue correction to what they called miscarriages of justice. Trump's characterization of the convicted individuals as hostages and patriots during his campaign drew criticism from both Democrats and Republicans, particularly law enforcement. Former D.C. police officer Michael Fanone, who was attacked and injured during the insurrection, called Trump's actions a betrayal. "I have been betrayed by my country and those who support Donald Trump," Fanone said. The Republican Party owns a monopoly on hypocrisy when it comes to supporting law enforcement. At midnight, two convicted brothers, Andrew and Matthew Valentin, were the first to walk free. Trump officials announced their release outside the jail, drawing cheers from supporters. The brothers had previously been convicted of assaulting police officers during the riot, including using chemical spray and hurling objects at them. The release of the January 6 participants has been met with sharp condemnation from victims and their families. Daniel Hodges, a Capitol police officer injured during the attack, expressed frustration, sarcastically posting on social media, "Just worked 14 hours ensuring Trump's inauguration was secure and peaceful. Got home, read this. Thanks, America." Craig Sicknick, brother of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, who died following the attack, called Trump pure evil. "My brother died in vain," he said. "What Trump did proves that the United States no longer has a justice system." The emotional night was bittersweet for many, with family members celebrating the releases while others mourned the continued impact of the Capitol attack on the nation's democracy and rule of law. Meanwhile, Donald Trump removed Mark Millie from his role on the National Infrastructure Advisory Council on Tuesday, marking a significant move in the president's sweeping dismissal of appointees from prior administrations. Millie, a retired Army general and former chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under both Trump and Joe Biden, had become a vocal critic of Trump in recent years, famously labeling him a total fascist. Trump announced the firing on Truth Social, stating that his administration was actively identifying and removing over 1,000 presidential appointees from the previous administration, in a broad purge initiated within his first 24 hours back in office. Other high-profile figures dismissed included celebrity chef and human rights activist Jose Andres, who served on the Council of Sports, Fitness and Nutrition. Brian Hook, Trump's former special envoy for Iran, who was affiliated with the Wilson Center for Scholars, and Keisha Lance Bottoms, the former mayor of Atlanta, who served on the president's export council. Millie's dismissal comes after years of public criticism of Trump. In an interview with journalist Bob Woodward, Millie described Trump as the most dangerous person ever to hold office, accusing him of being a fascist to the core. Millie's disapproval of Trump deepened following reports of a phone call he made to Chinese officials after the January 6 insurrection, where Millie sought to reassure China about the stability of the U.S. government. Trump labeled the call a treasonous act and suggested such actions would have warranted the death penalty in earlier times. In one of his final acts as president, Joe Biden preemptively pardoned Millie, shielding him from potential prosecution under the new administration. Meanwhile, Trump reportedly ordered Millie's portrait to be removed from the Pentagon, signaling lingering animosity towards the retired general. Jose Andres, the founder of the humanitarian organization World Central Kitchen, also found himself in the spotlight after Trump's announcement. Andres, who's been outspoken on various political issues, including Israel's war on Gaza, contradicted Trump's claim that he had been fired. "I submitted my resignation last week. My 2-year term was already up," he posted on X, accompanied by a shrugging emoji and a laughing emoji. Andres' organization has been recognized for its disaster relief efforts, including in Gaza, where 7 WCK staff members were killed during an Israeli airstrike in April last year. The abrupt dismissals underscore Trump's intent to rapidly reshape the federal government in his image and remove individuals he perceives as disloyal or critical of the administration. These actions have sparked sharp reactions, setting the tone for a contentious return to the White House. In his combative inaugural address, Trump declared, "Nothing will stand in our way," reaffirming his intention to reshape the country on his terms. The speech, widely regarded as reflecting his previous assertion that he would be a dictator on day one, set the tone for an administration intent on consolidating power and driving rapid change, protecting billionaires and casting out the working classes. The scale and scope of Trump's first-day executive orders stunned Washington, leaving opponents struggling to mount a coordinated response. The returning president's aggressive actions signaled a clear break with the policies of his predecessors, drawing sharp criticism from political adversaries while energizing his supporters desperate to burn democracy down. Observers noted that the speed and breadth of Trump's early moves reflect a strategic effort to overwhelm opposition and entrench his vision for the country. As political leaders and activists grapple with the implications of Trump's first 48 hours, the nation braces for what promises to be a terrifying and fascistic dictatorship, the likes of which America has never seen. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.